Welcome to Chalk. Church Talk.
Today we will be talking further on the story of Joseph. And as you know, our definition of bullying is negative verbal or physical behavior that is done directly to a person or person's property with the conscious intention of either upsetting the person or manipulating the person's behavior, which God would not approve of.
Much bullying starts at home with older sisters and brothers picking on a younger one. Today's world sees a lot of divorce and remarriage with children involved. Because of blended families and some of the insecure emotions feeding in from step-sibs, half-sibs, rivalries can flare up pretty easily.
When the early descendants of Father Abraham that we're looking at today, blended family strife was due to one man having several wives. Don't think these half-sibs couldn't be just as jealous and inspired to bully as some of today's kids. In fact, the older brothers of Joseph get the Bad Guy Bullying Award of history.
Here's something that may surprise you. Bullies generally do not view their behavior as bullying. And often, like Joseph's sibs, they think they are evening the score or seizing back power that rightfully is theirs. They and bullies of today may be able to see, even admit to some bad behavior on their own parts, but if jealousy is at the root, bullying will feel strangely like justice. This is a very deceiving feeling that we can learn to recognize and therefore not give into. Let's look at Joseph's story and then see if we can pick out some of our own behaviors that can come to the surface in this story.
This is a scripture from Genesis 37. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brother, the son of his father's wives, and he brought their father a bad report about him. Now, the father, Jacob, loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made an ornate robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down." His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. "Listen," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind.
Now, his brothers had gone to graze their father's flock, and the father, Jacob, said to Joseph, "As you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks. Come, I am going to send you to them." So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. "Here comes that dreamer," they said to each other. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of the cisterns and say a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. "Let's not take his life," he said. "Don't shed any blood. Throw him into the cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father.
So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the ornate robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the cistern and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in blood. They took the ornate robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine to see whether it's your son's robe." He recognized it and said, "It's my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned for his sons for many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Mennonites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard.
Let's identify with Joseph's brothers' feelings. What were Joseph's brothers actually jealous of?
His treatment that his father was giving them compared to the treatment that he was giving to them, the rest of the brothers.
Yeah, I think it was definitely that the favorite child type syndrome going on there. Now, do you think it was just the gift from one parent, the coat, the robe, or do you think it was something much bigger than that?
I think it was something much bigger than that because, just giving your son a robe would not wouldn't have given his sons the strive to go after Joseph. He had to have done something beforehand. This had to have been years of favoritism put onto him for them to want to come after their own brother.
I agree. I think it'd have to be years of favoritism, and there's got to be something more than just the favoritism too. To go to the extreme of let's just kill the guy.
Yeah.
I think the coat was kind of the cherry on top that may have pushed it over a little. But there's some deep cuts going on there that we don't really see. We kind of have to look through the cracks of the story to catch that. But there's something definitely bigger going on. Why do you think Joseph's dreams actually make his brothers feel so insecure?
Because the fact that he even went and told his brothers makes him think that it might actually happen one day. But on top of that, it's kind of verifying what they think already might actually happen, that he's better than them and he might, kind of reign over them one day.
Yeah, I think it also gives a insight to Joseph's kind of personality.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's a dreamer, but a lot of times when someone says you're a dreamer, your heads are kind of in the clouds. He's not noticing that his brothers are unhappy with him.
Yeah.
Because after years of this, that kind of is already there, right?
Yeah.
And then to walk up to him and be like, "Oh, I had this dream where you worship me," kind of shows that he's not really noticing, he's really just not paying attention to other people's feelings. He's kind of self-absorbed a little bit there, I think. I still think killing him is a little far-fetched. Now, you might, to identify with our own feelings, we might think that what happened to Joseph could not happen today because people were such barbarians back then. Actually, the family, Joseph's family, was extremely wealthy, and the sons were actually really well educated for the era. We've all felt jealous at times. Like Joseph's brothers, we may have wished a sibling, step-sibling, half-sibling, had never been born or just lived somewhere else. You may not have siblings, but if you do, you may not even have experienced this rivalry before. The important thing is to know that you're not alone in this. Everybody goes through some type of jealousy.
Have you ever felt that your parents treated one of your siblings in a more privileged way?
Dude, I'm old and I can tell you that, I'm the middle kid, so you know how it goes.
I'm also the middle kid, but I feel like it's the other way around for me. I get told a lot that I get treated better than the rest of my siblings, like kind of like in Joseph's situation, but not that to that extreme. How did that make you feel?
I'm a big ray of sunshine, so it never bothered me.
Me, them telling me that my siblings telling me, mostly my brother who's behind the camera, constantly telling me that my mom treats me better than all the other siblings, even though none of my other siblings tell me that. It's kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel bad. Like, I don't want to be told that because I feel like it's not true. I only get the I only get the respect that I give to my mother back to me. So I feel like, I'm not saying I deserve it, but like, if I treated my mother poorly, I would not get treated like this. Or I'm not saying he does or anybody else in my family does, but if I did treat my mom with disrespect, I wouldn't get the amount of respect I get back. So I think that's why I get so much respect back from her. But
Do you think that could be a one-on-one conversation with your sibling, to where you guys could figure it out and be like, hey, because like it could be because you guys have that. I don't know, we're kind of being transparent here, but you guys kind of have that joking personalities.
Yeah.
I get it because you guys know I do. We'll joke around, we jab at each other, and it's jokes. But at the same time, sometimes those jokes, like the little picking and teasing, razzing, can hurt, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be one of those things if we come together and we just talk about it and be like, hey, I know you're messing with me, but at the same time, this is what I feel like.
yeah,
And maybe
that is
help.
what I feel like. Stephon. That is what I feel like.
And yeah, I think that's a better way to handle it than what Joseph's family did.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hope he would never do that, or like I know I wouldn't. But
So
like,
if you go missing, I will look for you in the
Oh.
cistern.
yes.
Yeah, or drive to Egypt.
Where's the closest discern?
I don't know. That'll be a good follow-up video to this. Is we'll
Yes.
go look for the closest cistern.
Because first stop, Uncle James's farm. 2 hours away. Okay. Did you ever want to get even with that sibling? If so, what did you do?
Like I said, I'm the middle of 3 boys, so honestly, I just like hanging out with my brothers. It didn't matter. Like, yeah, at times it felt like mom or dad favored one or the other over me, but I mean, we're brothers, so payback honestly just came in play. Like, we always wrestled, we boxed. It wasn't like I needed to hurt one of them because I mean we were already hitting each other and throwing each other off and stuff. So we never had to get back at anybody. How about you?
I don't know.
No, right?
No.
Yeah, it seems kind of silly. We're definitely, I think, we're definitely at that, like, you may not have experienced a big sibling rivalry type thing, but, man, I know it's out there. You see it all the time.
Yeah. Especially on TV shows, they have a big example of that.
Yes, they do.
Thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you in our next episode. Drop any comments down below if you would like to respond to these questions or just in general. Leave a like, subscribe. Thank you for chalking with us at Chalk.
Chalk. Church Talk.